Thank you for coming along to this webinar today. So we're going to chat a little bit today about the Disability Service and Student Wellbeing team at GCU. You've got myself, my name's Emma, I'm one of the Disability Advisors, and we've also got Joanna here, who is one of our Student Wellbeing Advisors. So just to start off, looking at student wellbeing, I am a disability advisor that works within the disability team, which sits in our student wellbeing department. We offer support through a variety of different services, which are listed on the screen here. So that includes ourselves and the disability team, wellbeing advice, counselling and mental health advice. And you can see our 2 email addresses on the screen there. We're going to go through a couple of different areas today. So we're going to look at thinking about going to university, talking a little bit about the team within the disability service, our aims, the support that we can put in place, pre-entry process and programs that are running over the summer, and a little bit more about the support that you can expect once you're registered at GCU. You'll be able to see that there is a chat function on this webinar. So if you do have any questions, please just pop them in the chat. And at the end, Joanna and I will go through them and just go through as many of the questions as we can for what we have time for. And if there's anything specific, you can always get in touch with us via those email addresses as well. So when we're thinking about going to university, we are aware that for disabled students, there are often additional barriers and concerns that they might have when they're thinking about applying to university and getting started. And currently our statistics show that for the 24-25 academic year, about 18.9% of our student population had disclosed a disability. We did have some errors with our data at the very beginning of this academic year, so we think that number is actually probably a little bit higher. But just to give some context as to how many disabled students that we are working with each year. Applying to university can be very daunting for anybody, but for a disabled student, even if you have the grades for university, people will often think about starting out at college just because that transition seems a little bit more manageable than coming to university. But we just want to make it clear today that we can support everybody with this transition, no matter where you're coming from in your kind of educational journey. One of the biggest barriers and questions that we find disabled students have when they're applying for university is whether or not they should disclose that they have a disability and what will happen if they do disclose their disability. So we would encourage all of you to disclose your disability if you do have one, as this just enables us to make contact with you as early as possible once you've applied to look at the support that you might need once you get started at uni, and ensuring that this is put in place whenever you get started on your programme. It won't have an impact on your application, and there is always the possibility that you might need some adjustments if there is an interview process for your programme. So this would also just enable us to make sure that any adjustments you might need can be put in place, and there's no need to worry about that support at the interview stage. Students will often wonder about the kind of support that they will get once they're registered at the university and if it will be the same as what has been in place for them previously at other institutions. So the support might look slightly different than what has been put in place for you in the past, but all of the support will be tailored to you and your individual needs, which I'll speak a little bit more later when I talk a little bit more about the kind of process of speaking to somebody in the disability team. So again, just looking at some other kind of common concerns or worries that we know a lot of disabled students are having when they're applying to university. So thinking about social integration and friendships, how to make new friends and how to meet people with similar interests or experiences. So within our wellbeing team, we can help to signpost you to student groups and societies. And we also have the Students Association on campus, and they're there to represent and support all GCU students to make sure that you have the best university experience. There are, I think, over 50 groups to join and lots of activities to get involved in. And there are events that happen on campus throughout the year as well. And then looking at accessibility. So when thinking about accessibility, when it comes to being on campus, a lot of students do wonder how they're going to find accessible routes to classrooms and different buildings, how accessible the campus is, thinking about accessible bathrooms. And we do have an interactive map that is available on our website, which can signpost you to all of this information and has information about accessibility requirements listed as well. It can be a lot of pressure, and there's a lot to think about in addition to just kind of choosing the course that you want and the particular university that you're applying to. But we do have teams to help with all of this. And our first port of call would be to look at the website, as it has a lot of information on there about the support that can be put in place, and it'll hopefully answer a lot of the questions that you have. So then thinking more specifically about the disability team. So within our team, we have 9 advisors, 8 mentors, and we have points of contact within all of the different departments. And our aim is to help all students to develop independent learning skills, and to support disabled students to identify and apply appropriate strategies and tools to help overcome any kind of barriers that they might face when it comes to studying on their programme. And as I mentioned previously there, we work with colleagues across the university. So within each department, there will be a member of staff who is nominated to be the academic disability coordinator. And that is a point of contact for the disability team within each department. It will just be a member of staff that has a little bit more kind of in-depth knowledge about all of the programs. So if there's any queries that students have about particular assessments or particular information that they're looking for about the course makeup, then we can get in touch with those colleagues just to make sure that we can get the right information to you. So looking at our team then, so our team, the disability team, is made up of our disability manager, our 8 disability advisors. We have 2 assistive technology advisors. So if anybody did require access to assistive technology and perhaps needed some training on that technology just to make sure that they knew how to work it fully and to its full potential, we can arrange for meetings with our assistive technology advisors. The academic disability coordinators, who I have just spoken about, who are the point of contact within each of the departments, so that if we need any more in-depth knowledge, we can get that. And then we also have disability mentors, who are there to work specifically with any students who have disclosed a diagnosis of autism. And they can help with time management strategies, with social integration, with speaking with the department if necessary, and can just be a more regular point of contact for you within the disability team. And then there are the disability advisors. So our role is to meet individually with each of the students who disclose a disability, just to have a bit of a chat about the impact that your disability might have on your studies, anything you're particularly worried or concerned about, and just making sure that we can put steps in place and look at reasonable adjustments to make sure that everything is accessible for you and that you feel well supported throughout your time at GCU. And that is just it printed in bullet points there, just for anybody that the mind map might not have been accessible to. So who uses our service? So as I said earlier, it was approximately 19% of all GCU students disclose a disability. We are aware that waiting lists are very long for some assessments for some disabilities and health conditions. So we do also see students who are on a waiting list for an assessment. So for example, for the likes of an autism assessment or an ADHD assessment. Students with specific learning difficulties such as dyslexia makes up the kind of largest population of students that the service sees, but mental health difficulties and autism are increasingly disclosed over the last couple of years, and just this list on the screen as well. So anybody with a long-term medical condition that might have an impact on your study, any sensory impairments or physical impairments, autism, mental health difficulties, specific learning disabilities, or anybody who is potentially seeking a diagnosis can come in and chat to somebody from the service as well. So through the support that we offer, we promote an inclusive learning experience at GCU. So we will work with students to make sure that we can promote and foster independent learning, hopefully raise confidence and reduce any anxieties that you might have about coming to uni and how you might manage studying on your course, and also just making sure that you have the support that you need to integrate fully into university life. So looking at different opportunities and different teams throughout the university. So looking at work experience, clubs and societies with the student association, and any support that you might need in speaking about study exchanges as well. So out with the disability team and student wellbeing, there is inclusive provision and support for all students. So we have learning development centres. So each school at the university has a learning development centre kind of attached to it. And there are academic development tutors who work in those centres who are there to support students with any kind of academic writing support that you might need, any ICT support, getting used to using the new kind of platforms like our GCU Learn and things like that. And also just kind of looking at the structure of essay writing, for example. So if it's been a wee while since you've had to do any academic writing, or you might need to brush up on like your referencing skills or something like that, then that would be the first port of call for all of that kind of support. We also have counselling and mental health services through Student Wellbeing, which Joanna will talk a little bit more about, and you can self-refer again via our website for counselling or mental health support. And assistive technology. So we do have some site licenses for a few different assistive softwares that all students can make use of. So for example, we have Read and Write, which is a really good kind of overall learning tool, which can be used for helping with proofreading and picking up on any kind of spelling and grammar issues that there might be. You can also use that as speech to text and text to speech. And then the online mind mapping tool as well. We also offer training for staff, so training across different departments. So for example, over the summer months, we're going to be running a few sessions on raising awareness of neurodiversity. And we've recently completed some training on dyslexia and teaching and assessing students with dyslexia to our social sciences department as well. So just making sure that staff are aware of the impact that different disabilities and conditions might have on students and how it might impact their studying at the university and what they can do to support you. So then looking at kind of specific support. So to begin with, once you have disclosed to the university, we will send out what is called a self-assessment questionnaire, which is a questionnaire that has been designed just to give us a little bit more information about anything that you're worried about or any areas that you think your disability might impact on your studying. So once we have all of that information, you'll then be invited in for a needs assessment, which is a one-to-one meeting with one of our disability advisors, where we can discuss the requirements of your course and identify any areas in which you might need some support and make sure that we put reasonable adjustments in place. Once we've had that discussion and identified the reasonable adjustments, we will create a document called a recommended adjustments page. And these are how the adjustments are put in place to support the student. So it's a document that will be sent to you, first of all, for your approval to make sure you're happy with the contents of it. And it is then shared with your academic department just to give them a little bit more awareness of any disabilities that you've disclosed, how they might impact you, and it is a rolling document that carries with you throughout your time at uni. So you can contact your disability advisor at any time if things may have changed or there are maybe areas that you hadn't spoken about previously that you're finding that you might need some adjustments or some more support. You can get in touch and we can make some adjustments to that as well. And then within the academic schools, we can liaise on the behalf of students. And this could be if there are maybe particular elements of coursework that you think you're not going to be able to complete, and we maybe need to think about some adjustments and looking at alternative assessment methods and things like that. And then we can get in touch with the academic schools and just make sure that support is put in place for that. Again, assistive technology, so you can meet with one of our advisors regarding using assistive technology and any training that you might need on the different programs. Autism mentors, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more on the next slide. And then over the summer, we also offer pre-entry programs. So just in addition to what GCU offers in general for support through the disability team, there will also be support over the summer just to give you a little bit more information on the support you can expect once you get registered on your course. So the pre-entry programs, how the process works is obviously there are going to be open days and applicant events, and any student who has disclosed a disability on their UCAS application will be contacted by us from any time from now. We have a lot of information on our website about the support that is available to you and tips on how to get prepared for when your course starts at the start of the academic year. But we would encourage anybody who is thinking about going to university or who has applied to come along to these open days, to come along to these webinars, and that just gives you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have on how the process works, what kind of support is available, and will hopefully just mean that you'll feel a little bit more confident about the process. So yeah, there's any questions, obviously you can pop them in the chat or feel free to email us afterwards as well. Then looking at the pre-entry programs in specific, so there are a number of different programs that we run throughout the summer, just to get students a little bit more familiar with traveling to university and the campus, if it's possible for you to come along in person to those events. So we'll run tours, and you'll potentially get to meet other students who will be doing the same courses as you. The programs are designed and tailored to look at specific concerns for students in that specific group. So, for example, we run sessions for students who have disclosed the diagnosis of autism. We have our mental health matters program for anybody who might have a mental health condition, ADHD at uni, and dyslexic and confident as well. In the past, these have been really well attended and it is a good social experience, but if you're not able to attend, you can always get in touch and we can send over some information about what happens at the events as well. And that'll just mean that you have a better idea of the support that is available, and just helps us to kind of better inform the needs assessment as well. So looking specifically at our GCU mentors, so for anybody who has a diagnosis of autism, we do have mentors who work within the Wellbeing team. It's a specialised role, and everybody who works as a student mentor has had specific training when working with students with autism through the National Autistic Society. They can assist with study skills and time management, and maybe making up an assessment map so you have an idea of when all your coursework and your exams and things like that will take place throughout the trimesters, and also looking at any kind of social skills that you might want some support with. They're able to link in with the student and with your disability advisor with your permission, and any academic staff that they might need to get in touch with. So if you have any questions for lecturers, or you have questions about coursework that you're not quite sure, they can get in touch with module leads and things like that. And just make sure that you feel confident and that you have a point of contact you can come to if there's something that you're not quite sure about. And then I think we're handing over to Joanna now to chat a little bit more about the student wellbeing and mental health side of our team.
Thank you so much, Emma, and welcome everyone to this webinar. And I will be talking a little bit about the other services within the student wellbeing service. And one of them is student wellbeing advice. And I am a student wellbeing advisor for business school, but I've also got a few other colleagues like Christina, who's looking after the health and life science, and Meg and Jenna, who share in the post for the computing and engineering and built environment school as well. So if you join in one of those schools, you will be having somebody appointed and allocated as a student wellbeing advisor to your school that you can always reach out and speak to us. We are quite often our first point of contact for students. Sometimes they might not be aware where to go to, who to speak to, and we are really here to offer general wellbeing advice, guidance. There might be sometimes issue like about housing or maybe financial and hardship difficulties. And we are really keen to work with you and talk to you about any challenges that you might be experiencing. One of the specialist supports that is available through the student wellbeing advice is supporting student carers and GCU carers. What does it mean? Quite often, maybe when you come to university and maybe you've already got some additional responsibilities. Maybe you are responsible for a family member, or maybe a friend, or even a neighbor, somebody who you need to actually offer some additional support. This could be maybe helping with picking up medications, or maybe something like doing a groceries from time to time. And when you offer in those additional supports, that obviously puts an extra strain on yourself and quite often on the academic performance. We are here to support, to put a carer plan in place for you, so you can make academics aware of what's going on in your life, that sometimes there will be challenges, and we are here to support you on this journey. We will be inviting you for an appointment and talking about maybe some kind of flexibility to be put in place for you. And this will be obviously within trying to meet those academic requirements, but it's also making aware academics that you might be requiring extra support. We are also a named contact for LGBTQIA+ students, and we can help with maybe processes around updating student records. We can support with external support, but also internally, whatever this is it's needed, because quite often there will be some challenges, and maybe speaking to academics about what's going on, and quite often we can help with that. We also can support students who've experienced gender-based violence, and we do have report and support in place at university. If you experience maybe discrimination or gender-based violence and you would want to speak to someone about it, disclose it, we can support you throughout this process, and we can really help. We can also be a first point of contact. We quite often liaise with academic departments on behalf of the students. Sometimes what we find, students are not aware who to speak to, who will be the best person. And as I said, if there is any general welfare issues that you might want to discuss, then we're really keen to work with you to make sure that you feel supported within the uni, but also outside of the uni. So whether we will be able to signpost you to support services within the university that might be finance, funding, this may be visa team. We can also support you externally and refer you to external services too. The other service that we've got within a university is counselling, and any registered student can self-refer to the counselling service. I really want to mention that all of our services are confidential. That means that without your permission, we will not be disclosing to anyone that you're accessing our services. Whether this will be a phone call maybe from a parent or somebody who would have wanted to know, or a friend that wanted to know if you access our services, we would not be sharing it. We will also not be sharing if academics reach out to us. We will need your permission in order to share that you access our services. And if you register a student, you can access 6 weekly sessions of counselling. They can be either online or in person, and this is within the one set of academic year. So you can refer through the first appointment on our website. However, you can also drop into our service, or you can send us an email, and you will be put in touch with the counsellor to do the first appointment, an intake form when you discuss about your difficulties, what's going on for you, and you will be put on a waiting list. With it, you probably appreciate there are always waiting lists. Students who might experience high level of stress or risk of harm, they are being prioritized, and they are aimed to be seen pretty promptly and quickly within our team. As I've mentioned, we are obviously confidential service. Some issues that you might be bringing to counselling, the common issues could be maybe low mood, depression, anxiety, relationship problems, setting up boundaries. Maybe you want to talk about your identity or anything that's coming up for you. It is a safe space for you to open up and chat to a professional who will be there impartially listening and being not judgmental, and really try to support you in whatever you're going through. And you might really benefit from exploring your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors. And as I said, this is a confidential setting that can be either done online or in person, whatever you prefer. It will also help you to create maybe some understanding about yourself, how you relate to others, but also how to cope with difficulties, how to cope with stress, and how to cope with anxieties that might come in as you're going through this time. Because university is a beautiful time that you're going to enter, and you will learn quite a lot, but it comes with its challenges as well. And we do recognize that sometimes what you might need is also to look into your mental health rather than just focus only on academic performance. We also want to mention that if there are some complex mental health issues, you might be supported more through GP, whereas the student wellbeing service will be a little bit towards the side, but we're still here and we do want to support you. The third service that we've got in our student wellbeing mental health and wellbeing service is mental health advice. And this is a little bit different from counselling, because mental health advice can be a point of contact about your mental health throughout your studies. So maybe you will come into the first year and you will really want to have one mental health advisor that will guide you through the whole of the four years of your studying here. And this is absolutely fine. You can have as many appointments as you would have wanted to. But the focus for the mental health advice is to offer advice how to manage your mood and your symptoms. This isn't a therapy, it's more like a check-in and being able to be the point of contact. They can liaise with the general practitioners, with GPs, and any other health professionals as required. They are working alongside. They can also help you to make any links with other support services within the university and external support services. And as I have mentioned, all of our services are confidential. We are working alongside the statutory support services. So when you come into the university, we do recognize that you might be coming from different countries or even different points of the UK. So it is really important that you register with a GP, because general practitioners and mental health advisors can be actually accessed through the GP. So they can actually provide the mental health diagnosis or treatment plan. They can provide some advice and treatment for common physical health conditions, and they can prescribe medications. Our service do not prescribe any medications, and whether we can speak to GP on your behalf, the GP will be responsible for referrals to the community mental health team, any nurse treatment rooms, physio or special service. And as I said, we are recognizing that you are coming here to study and really get yourself better through the academic performance. However, please do not forget about taking care of your mental health at the university. We are here to help you to access support within GCU. This could be student wellbeing service, but it could be also other services within the university. From our service, we really want to help you how to learn how to manage stress and anxiety, and how to learn those coping strategies, how to maybe take some time for your self-care, relaxation. One of those things that we do, one of those events is yoga on Mondays that we're doing at 12 o'clock every Monday, that you will be more than welcome to come to if you wanted to. We've also run mindfulness classes too. So this is something for you to de-stress and really enjoy. We are encouraging people to develop healthy habits and routine. We know that if we've got a routine and we're able to do things and they are predictable, it's sometimes easier and you're able to keep going. But the things are a little bit chaotic and you just don't know where you're coming and going, it's a little bit more difficult. That's why we encourage people to speak to us, so we can be a point of contact. We can make you accountable for things, and also for your mental health, but also for academic performance. We encourage people to spend time with friends, consider joining groups of society through the student association, where you can, develop yourself. Maybe you will learn and grow. Maybe you will make new friends. And this is really important to kind of feel as a part of community within the university. So how to access our services? As we've mentioned, we are based in M136, not R136, in the George Moore building. You can check our website and feel free to go through and just see what's up there, but you will be able to access, first booking appointments for our services. You can also get a referral through your academic department. This is not a problem. However, we do recognize that when you self-refer, you are more willing to come and access our services. You can also email us for the student wellbeing or disability email address, and somebody will be pick that email up and reply to you. Just so you're aware, there are also other support available that we promote, and one of them is online self-help resources such as Together All. And they offer different ways of accessing support for your well-being. So that includes online communities, different courses that you might want to learn, because sometimes people really, really enjoy accessing this through online rather than in person. As I said, we're doing some workshops and events. This could be yoga, but also we're doing a lot of information stalls throughout the academic year. And this could be about the student carers. It could be about celebrating LGBTQ+ week. This could be quite a lot of different information stalls. There is access to the free gym. at the moment through ARC, so feel free to benefit from that. There is also a really good space, Relax and Renew, in the library. It's a quiet space to take a break, maybe, meet up with a friend, or maybe just have a nice coffee and just really enjoy the time that you can spend over there. And if there is anything going on about academic issues that you might want to discuss, we would actually recommend speaking to the Student Advice Centre, because there are impartial service that can help you to raise a complaint or maybe talk about any academic issues that you might have. And this is bringing us to the end of our presentation. So thank you so much for listening. And we are going to open now for any questions that you might have. So thank you so much for your time.
I don't see any questions in the chat just now, but if anybody does have any questions, we'll hang around for a little bit. If you want to pop them in the chat, we can just read through them. Or if you would prefer to drop us an email, then you can find all the details on the website, and you could drop us an email as well, but we'll hang around for a couple of minutes now just to see if any come through.
Hi, Muhammad Said. The question is how GCU's Wellbeing Centre is better than other universities in the Russell Group. I can't comment on any other universities and what kind of supports they provide, but we can definitely say that, we do have a good support network in place, and we can offer a lot of support for the students who are coming to our services.
I think there's a question as well from Mega saying, can students be a part of the team? I'm already an optometrist. Can I help with sensory impairments? And what I would say for that is that if a student is coming to the service and registering as a disabled student with a sensory impairment, we would speak with the medical professional that they are dealing with, but students who are studying with vision sciences or anything like that wouldn't be involved.
Yes, the student can access our services free of cost at any time. That's a question from Muhammad Said.
And Grace has asked, I am privately diagnosed by a specialist and not a GP. Could I provide proof of my disability from my specialist, or does it have to be from my GP health records? No, if you have supporting documents from a specialist that you have seen through private healthcare, then yeah, you can send that in. It doesn't have to be from a GP, so long as it's from a medical professional of some kind, that's totally fine.
There's also a question from Mega Saji. Can students be a part of the team? You can apply for the ambassador role, but you wouldn't be. You can apply for the ambassador, student ambassador role, to be a part of a wider student campus.
So someone in the chat is saying, sorry for joining a bit late. I was having network issues. The session was recorded, so if you did miss any information, you'll be able to go back and watch it. Okay, so it doesn't look like there are any other questions coming through at the moment. So I think we're going to end the webinar here. But if anybody does have a question that they maybe didn't want to ask on the webinar as we